Welcome. Now we're going to take a look at user fields in our PrintVis Business Central system. A user field contains any information which is not contained anywhere else in your PrintVis Business Central system. For instance, if it is information on making sure to pass to your pressman that color needs to be correct on a job, you can include a note in there. It can also have additional information such as contact information or specific mailing information for a job. There are several places to go to set this up in your PrintVis Business Central system. The first is under General Setup and PrintVis General Setup. You want to ensure that you have user fields enabled on the order and the job, as well as the price units if you need additional user fields on your price units or calculation units. In this case, I have user fields enabled on my order level, as well as on the group, group 1 on my job level. I could turn on groups 2 and 3. However, at this point, I don't need them. Once I'm satisfied that my user fields are enabled, we can browse to a case and take a look. On a case, the user fields are accessed by clicking on the button for user fields in your menu. This will open up any user field that is available for that specific part of the order. And I will show you in just a moment how to set those up. At this point, I can come in and key in any additional information. This information is also filled in from the order line on your case card. If it is at this point, these are set up so that these are request for quote, and once it has passed into the quoting status, it cannot be added. Again, that's a setup feature in the user card. Another area to access user fields is down underneath the job line, under user fields as well, and then user fields 1. If I had user fields 2 and 3, they would show up additionally there for me to select. And we can see that there are a number of user fields. These user fields are not constrained by that limitation on our status code for the job, and I can edit them at any time the current way they are set up. To edit these user fields from this screen, all I have to do is click Setup, and it will bring me to my group list for this specific grouping of user fields. To view the fields that have been set up, I click Fields, and it brings up all of the available user fields in that group. On this page, we have the field number, which is the primary key, and generally it's set sequentially, so it will auto-populate. However, once it has been created, you are able to go in and change those. The field name. The group code helps determine where it is set up on the system, as well as where it prints out on various reports. The data type, whether it's a text, number, a checkbox, date, time, or a selection field. If you have options that you want your users to select from, you can create option values. Whether it's an option value only, if this is set to true, then they're not able to key anything in. It has to be one of the option values that they select. The sorting order, so the order that it displays in, as well as whether or not they're going to show up on the production plan. In this case, you can see that my saddle stitching notes, data, and proofing are set to show up on my production plan. And then editable in the production plan. This means that if they can edit it once it's on the production plan, and whether it is filled in. This determines, the report print determines whether or not it's going to print. In the case of if it's filled in, it will only display on the report if there is an item there. So if I don't have any information for imposition or shipping, it will not display on that report that it's assigned to. In this case, it's always going to print the first five items we have here under customer supply. Generally, these are things that are going to show up on my quote letter. And then the report location, the section that it shows up in, whether it shows up at the top, the bottom, or the section that it's assigned to. And then I can assign a section placement to determine if it shows up in the left, right, or center of that section. External suppliers, if it's an external need, in other words, if it's something that we're getting from outside, or if it's something that the customer supplies us. And then we have the ability to style it. We can set it as standard, or make it red for unfavorable or green for favorable, or subordinate will make it a smaller font. In this case, these are all set to none. If I have the block field checked, that means that it is not usable, as in most of the other areas on here. Decimals is the decimal place value, and then the initial value. If you want to populate an initial value in that user field, you can, and that will show up there. So if we go back and we take a look at this request, if I look in my user fields at the top of the case, wrong user fields. If I look at my user fields here, we'll notice that my general has some of the things that are pre-filled with the ready for CTP, proofing, what we're doing. I can key in, or I can hit the drop down to select and change that if I'd like to. And now it's changed on my job ticket. To edit the user fields at the top, it's the same as the user fields at the bottom. I would select that area and hit setup. And then fields. If I'd like to see all the user fields that are available in the system, from my main screen, I simply search for user fields. And I go to PrintVis user field tables. From here, this is everything that could have a user field. To view the fields under each area, I simply select case and I select fields. And you'll notice this is the same view we just saw going through the case card. If I want to see my job 1, I select my job 1 and hit fields. Actually, in that case, it's job 1. If we had enabled the job 2 and 3, it would have been job 2 and then job 3 there. But because we only have job 1 enabled, it's that top job. And we can see that it has 8 fields in it, or 8 groups in that field. So I can see my user fields. And then to set those groups, I simply highlight the table and click groups. And there's the groups that are set up for me to choose from. Much like on the user fields themselves, this group code is going to auto-populate. However, once you type in your group description, you can change it. It will prompt you if you want to rename the record and set my sorting. If you have any questions about user fields or would like to learn more, please reach out to your PrintVis partner.